so much to the Minister. Kia ora koutou. It's important for you to understand why I asked this particular Minister to give the address today, but also why I asked the Honourable Jenny Salesa to be here. At the end of the day, this is not going to happen without leadership, and it needs to come from those we respect. Now, we don't often have someone in Grant's position or in Jenny's position who are diverse thinkers. They both clearly are. When I think about the wellbeing budget, that is a global first. It makes my heart sing. I can see how people from different perspectives bring different views to the roles that they play. And so, Minister, I want to say to you that you have started today what Malcolm Gladwell calls the tipping point, which is that you have led the start of a revolution. And it's a revolution this country needs. We are a small country, as Kevin Roberts said. I think Julia Rao said we can't be Kodak. We can't. We just got to be better. And that means, as I think Vaughan said in his interview, that actually boards or any organisation and leadership needs to be like the Avengers. There's only one Hulk. So if all of you agree, then what are the rest of you doing there? Because I remember that there was a Black Widow and there were all sorts of other people on the Avengers. So I just want to say that I wrote the Diverse Thinking Capability Audit because I really wanted to get beyond step one. And step one is clearly what the Minister has talked about. We've just got to get all of the talent pool round the table, right? But that is step one. And what I was finding was that people were saying, all right, well, you're making me, okay, I've got my two women around the board, I've got my one Maori. Sometimes I've managed to get it all in one person, I've got a Maori woman. And that's it, I'm done. And what I realised was that was blocking us. We weren't realising that actually that's the first step. And then the second step, actually, is that demographic criteria are only one group of predictors of diverse thinking. There are many others which relate to our personal upbringing, our personal experiences, our professional experiences, and also our empathy with the client, customer, citizen group that we represent. And so I loved what I found. This has been an education for me. I expected this report to be 50 pages. My wonderful husband, who is here today, he is writing the report at the moment for the mental health inquiry, so I think he had to postpone the session today to be here. He said, go for it, mate, do it. It went from 50 pages to 250 because so many leaders thought it was important, but they didn't feel able to talk about it. This report is a vehicle for talking about it. But what did I learn? I learned that the key benefit of diverse thinking is better decision making. It's the ability to get all of the options on the table and then to make the best decision. It's the ability to spot problems, see risks in a different way, not be blindsided by groupthink, and to ensure that you're not just thinking about, oh, well, this is irrelevant, this is dross. The dross of yesterday is actually the gold of tomorrow. I think that was Bruce Hassel. I've got all of these voices now in my head. And I was just delighted by the amount of wisdom that came out of the interviews. Doug said that this is a must read, and it was a must education for me. I learned so much doing this, which is why I couldn't stop. In the end, the 20 top directors expanded to 63 interviews, including the chair and the CEO of the New Zealand Shareholders Association, who said, we're right behind you, we're all for this. We need diverse thinking because we know it improves performance. But remember, diverse thinking is much, much harder. Having a whole pile of people who want to be agreeable and who do not want just to toe the line and say, yes, we agree, that's wonderful, Mr. Chairman or Ms. Chairman, Chairwoman, makes it a lot harder. It takes longer. And as one interviewee said, we need to have boards that aren't going to blow up when that happens. We've got to be mature enough as people to argue our corners, as Grant was saying, and then we're still part of a team. You know, the wonderful statement about Cabinet, either we hang together or we assuredly will hang apart. That was a fundamental part of a Geoffrey Palmer education, actually. He used to say, well, I'm Cabinet made. So the chair is so important. And as Grant said, it's all very well getting women and ethnics and other characteristics on boards, but at the end of the day, there's only one thing worse than getting women than not having women on boards, and that is having women on boards and absolutely ensuring that they will make not a blind bit of difference, because we will ensure that their comments are dropped, not picked up, that what they say is disregarded, that people roll their eyes and tell them that what they're saying is irrelevant. Skills, however, are fundamental. You can't just get on a board because you're a woman. You can't just get on a board because you're an ethnic. You've got to be there because you've got skills, because at the end of the day, actually being on a board is very, very hard work. So I want to close by saying that all of the chairs said that we're at 2.5 out of 5, those who would score. Of course, the Right Honourable Ruth Richardson wouldn't score. It's very hard to get Ruth to do anything you don't want her to do, Grant. Those who scored, we're at 50%. We've got another 50% to go, and I just want you to know that I cried over some of the interviews. If you want to look at Tanya Simpson's interview, it will be a good reminder to you of how hard it is to be a diverse thinker. It is always easier just to toe the line. And often I have said to myself, just toe the line, mate. It is easier. But you know, ultimately, if your values are that you want the very best for your organisation, you can't. You have to reach deep, and you have to have courage, and you have to be brave. And you have to say this thing that might make people think that you live in la-la land and that you don't understand what's going on, when actually you do. It's just that you see it from a different perspective. So it's going to be wonderful to have Peter Griffiths up here talking about the Diverse Thinking Governance Summit that we are going to have in November, to allow all of those experienced directors to share with the less experienced directors and wannabes how you should be behaving in the boardroom. I'm also going to be introducing soon Justine Smythe to talk about the pledge. She's leading a whole pile of experienced chairs and directors who say that they are going to commit themselves to ensuring that there is more diverse thinking in our boardrooms. I just really want to pay tribute to the sponsors. You've got to understand that at the end of the day, everyone loves to eat the bread. I always think about the little red hen. They read to my son. They love to eat the bread, but no one wants to do the work. And so the sponsors are the ones you see around the room. They're the ones who have enabled you to download the report for free. You can download the report right now. Just whip out your iPhone, and you can download the report. I've forgotten how to do it, Marina, but you just put in superdiversity.org, and the report will come up and you can download it. Right, Marina? Oh, okay, do that, and you can download it. I also want to say that we developed some tools. I thought, why not? There is no measurement of this. So I've just applied the Diverse Thinking Matrix grant, which will now sit alongside the Skills Matrix, to the Cabinet. And I will provide you with the results of that as to which members of the Cabinet are truly diverse thinking or not. And also, we score them, so you can know whether you're a 5 or a 1. Some have turned out a 0. No, not really. There are also diverse thinking criteria, and then of course there are diverse thinking audits. Now, can I have the Superdiversity team up on stage, please? With respect to the diverse thinking audits, can I just say that Janine Smith is going to be peer reviewing the Superdiversity team as we do diverse thinking audits for people to determine how much diverse thinking capability directors have, candidates have for directorship, and chairs have. Why? Because actually all of us need to be diverse thinking. We live in a very volatile and uncertain environment. If we don't get better at thinking diversely, like for example, thinking diversely about the fact that governments change, and that doesn't mean we should lose business confidence when all of the statistics show that growth is still going just fine. It's all right. You can have a different perspective on this thing. We don't just have to say, it's a Labour-led government, so therefore we should lose confidence. So can I say, Janine is going to be there peer reviewing us as we do the diverse thinking audit. Can I say that with me on this, I just want to pay tribute to John, who told me to go for it, but then, John, I'm so sorry, it took 5 more weekends of my life, which meant that he spent more of them with just my son than normal. But also Rosie Judd is really important. Rosie, put up your hand. Without Rosie, we wouldn't have completed. Rosie helped me with all the interviews, and I'm just so grateful because I couldn't have finished the report without her. So up on the overheads now should be what it is the Diverse Think Tank's doing. So what on earth are you doing, May? I am doing what Audette Axel told me, Jeff Ricketts. She told me that I needed to make the Superdiversity Institute into the best institute in the world, but the way to do that was to perfect the model in New Zealand and then push it out globally. So this team, along with others who are back at the farm actually working at the moment so we can meet deadlines, are doing a whole pile of things which are up there on the overhead. And there will be 2 more reports coming out from the Superdiversity Institute before the end of the year. They are specifically focused on how the national culture of workers has an impact on health and safety, vulnerability. And it's really relevant, and what we discovered is that it is a global gap. Nobody is doing it well. Canada is probably ahead of the rest. Australia is behind, and the UK has just discovered that it's an issue, despite the fact it's been super diverse for a long time. And so I just want to acknowledge the team. I also want to acknowledge the people who helped with today. This event today is the result of Marina Matthews' work. Preeti Garud, where are you, Preeti? And also Karinia Lee, they're down the back. Thank you so much for your work. And then what I want to do now is I just want to introduce the 2 next speakers. They are Rob Campbell. Now, Rob was one of the first people to come on board and to support me. I've spent a lot of my life with people who talk a fair game, but they usually don't put their money where their mouth is. Rob Campbell was great. He just said to me, go for it, mate, let's do this. And so he was one of the first people that I interviewed. He, of course, is chair of Sky City Entertainment Group, Somerset Group Holdings Limited, Well Energy, Ultrafast Broadband, and director of Precinct Properties. And then after him will be Justine Smythe. Justine was fantastic too. She's always a first mover. She got this, she understood how important it was, and she said, we want to lead in this space. Spark has to be one of the most diverse thinking boards that we have in New Zealand. And Justine, of course, chairs that, along with the Breast Cancer Foundation New Zealand. She's the director at Auckland International Airport Limited, and she's going to deliver the Diverse Thinking Pledge. Thank you, Rob.